It had been 11 years since we had been to the White Rim mountain biking ride in the Canyonlands National Park located near Moab, Utah. 2025 would be the year to attack the maze. The maze comprises 220,000 acres of the 337,000 acre Canyonlands National Park. We'd see a lot of it in our 5-day ride. In 2014, 10 riders flew or drove from Madison to Canyonlands to ride the White Rim Trail. In 2025, only 6 of us were able to make it. Bill, Greg, Rick, and Dave flew out, an easy 3-hour flight from Madison to Phoenix to Moab. Tom and Tom decided to drive, taking 2.5 days and overnighting in Lincoln, Nebraska and Dillon, Colorado. There was plenty of time to provision for the experience, and the spring snowstorms in the Rockies added a little excitement to their drive. The maze is the least accessible district of the Canyonlands National Park. Due to the district's remoteness and the difficulty of the roads and trails, travel to the maze requires more time. Visitors must be prepared for self-sufficiency and the proper equipment or gear for self-rescue. Rarely do visitors spend less than 3 days in the maze, and the area can easily absorb a week-long trip. We felt like rock stars flying from Phoenix to Moab in a small jet, where we were greeted by wonderful weather, blue skies, white fluffy clouds. Everything was handled outside, including the luggage. I felt like I was in the Caribbean. Our rock star status quickly faded as the 4 of us, plus all of our luggage and the driver, crammed into a Nissan Sentra for the 20-minute ride from the airport to Moab to the Bighorn Motel, our home for 2 nights. Moab is a small town of 5,000 people, nestled along the Colorado River, the only green spot for miles around. The town may be named after the Kingdom of Moab, a name from the Greek via Hebrew for from the Father. It's described in the Bible as what is present-day Jordan, bounded by the Dead Sea on its west. According to the Bible, the Moabites often fought with the Israelites. As an acronym, Moab refers to a massive bomb developed by the U.S. military. Moab attracts some 3 million tourists annually, mostly visitors to the nearby Arches and Canyonlands National Park. If you want to have outdoor activities, they've got everything. ATV, UTV riding, ballooning, bird watching, fishing, golf, hiking, horseback riding, motorcycle road touring, motorcycle trail riding, mountain biking, road biking, rock climbing, canyoneering, scenic flights, skydiving, and whitewater rafting. After sitting on a plane for 3 hours, I decided to take my usual 5-mile walk around Moab today to see what it had to offer off the beaten track. An estimated 13,000 vehicles pass through Moab daily on Highway 191, and I had to get 4 blocks west of the highway before I stopped hearing the roar. At the Gonzo Inn, I saw my first Tesla pickup, up close and personal. Not much to look at, and I'm not sure what the attraction is. Interestingly, the Gonzo also had their outdoor gas fire pit roaring. It was about 75 degrees out. Oh, and there were lots of these signs around town, probably in protest of the current residents' move to get rid of federal land. Lots of campers in these areas, especially those homemade type that you see in every size and configuration. Self-contained, and you just need a place to park it at night. There was still a lot of snow on Mount Was. Moab might be a great place to retire, and if you are thinking about it, they have a place for you. On our first night in town, we decided to go to the Moab Brewery, where everybody had a great meal, but the best prize went to Dave's dinner of a huge platter of brisket and potatoes. He would have had enough to feed the whole table. He also bought a giant quart beer that was $15, and he didn't realize it till he got the bill. Everybody was excited about that. On our second night in Moab, we went to a little bit more shishi restaurant, Josie Wyatt's Grill. It was delicious. Bill and I had the honey-crusted salmon over grilled asparagus. It was delicious. Everybody else had the chicken on mashed potatoes. They were waiting for the salad until they realized that the green salad was the microgreens on top of it. Lots of laughs about that.
You know, just to set it straight, I'm retired. I can't, I'm not going to cook you. Strawberry sundae.
Nice.
That's it. I ordered a sundae when I meant to order a shake.
Sure, let me ask you this. Are you disappointed?
No.
Best banana shake I've ever seen. Can't wait to eat it. Burn this all off tomorrow. Wonderful. Yum.
We had about a 10-minute walk back to the motel, which certainly wasn't enough to work off the drink, food, and dessert we had. We'd start that tomorrow when we hit the trail. We had to be at Escape Adventures just down the block at 06:30 in the morning. So we got going early, checked out, and carried our stuff down to the trucks.
Why Bighorn?
As the light changed, we did our best in imitating the Beatles' Abbey Road album cover where they're crossing the street.
Well, we're doing a portage to the bike shop. This is the start of our big adventure. Packed up, ready to go. Give her hell. We enjoy going around Moab pulling our suitcases. It's really fun.
It was going to be a dusty ride for the 2.5 hours to the start of the ride, so they wanted us to switch all of our gear into their dry bags.
Stuff inside is okay, but it'll get dirty.
Everything went into the dry bags except the G's beer, which he was bringing. The truck would have everything we needed for the 5-day trip. All of our gear, all of our food, and 140 gallons of water. The question was, how would we get there? Well, Zach, one of the other tour guides who was heading out on the White Rim ride next week, was going to give us a ride to the starting point in the van, and from there we'd be on our own. Moab to the start of the ride was a 40-mile flight by the way the crow flies, but we had to drive it, so it was a 125-mile loop from Moab up Highway 191 to the interstate. Along the interstate, we stopped for some gas and fuel. As Roy said also, this was the last time we'd be able to use a flusher for 5 days. We headed back out on Highway 24 until we came to a nondescript road, which we followed through the desert for the next 40 miles. It was a bumpy ride. After about a half hour, we stopped to take a little break and stretch, and Roy explained the cryptobiotic soil crusts that, although not a desert type, are probably over 200 years old. These crusts are living surface layers of soil formed by communities of microorganisms. They're found in arid and semi-arid regions around the world, including some deserts. Dominant organisms in biocrusts include cyanobacteria, lichens, moss, and microfungi. They're crucial for desert ecosystems, playing a role in soil stabilization, nutrient cycling, and water retention. Why are they fragile? Biocrusts are easily damaged by physical disturbance, like tramping by humans or livestock. Once damaged, these crusts take a very long time to recover, potentially decades or even centuries. Damage disrupts their functions, leading to increased erosion, nutrient loss, and reduced water infiltration. How did this affect us? Well, the plan was if we had to urinate along the trip somewhere, always do it on the road, never step off the path. Once everything was unloaded from the van, we said goodbye to Zach and he headed back to Moab. The rest of us finalized our bikes, got everything loaded, and Roy suggested we use the vault toilet porta potty and go one more time. They refer to it as a long drop.
Kind of high altitude right now. We're about 6,000.
After that stop,
so
we'd be using the groover for the rest of the week. Want to know what a groover is? Talk to one of the riders. Our first day's ride would be about 27 miles. About 12 miles into the ride, we stopped at Bagpipe Butte, a beautiful overlook where we saw what we'd be riding through for the next couple days. The weather was beautiful, the temp was beautiful, very little wind. The road we were on had a lot of sand on it, loose sand, 3 to 4 inches thick, but we skated over it, and before you knew it, it was time for lunch. While we were busy overlooking the Bagpipe Butte vista, Roy and Austin were busy making lunch. They did a fantastic job. Caesar chicken salad with chips and Melba toast, sodas. It really hit the spot. Soon it was time to take off, and we could see over the cliff as we biked along the big descent we would have down into the valley. Little did I know this would become my Waterloo. Roy told us it was probably the most technical part of the ride and that the descent was very steep. Many people walked it, and we should do that if we felt nervous. Greg and Dave were the first ones down, and here you can see Greg meandering right up to the second switchback. I went next and made several of the switchbacks okay, stopped and walked one. And as I looked ahead, I saw he and Dave. Greg got a couple pictures of me. This is the first one, and this is the second one where in probably a split second after this was taken, I went right over the handlebars. In the tick of a clock, my view went from this to this, with this scene as the background. When I hit the ground, I was knocked out and laid unconscious for 5 to 10 minutes. Dave and Greg came to my aid, but didn't want to move me because of possible back or neck injuries. I was breathing. Soon, Roy and Austin arrived in the truck. They did triage me and decided I needed to get to Moab as fast as possible. I was transported by Roy in the truck back to the ranger station, where I was then transferred to Zach's car, who had come out to pick me up along with his girlfriend, Dr. Zoe. They drove me back to the Moab Hospital, which is a trauma 4-level hospital. They did lots of scans and tests. The diagnosis was subarachnoid hemorrhage, traumatic with brain bleeding, traumatic brain injury, zygoma fracture, maxillary sinus fracture, and abrasions on multiple sites. Of course, they were concerned. I had lost consciousness for 10 minutes. At about 3 in the morning, they decided I needed to go to Provo, which was a trauma 2-level hospital. The weather had turned iffy. It was raining and too windy to fly by helicopter, so they put me in an ambulance, gave me some fentanyl, and I slept for 3 hours from Moab to Provo. At the hospital in Provo, I stayed for 24 hours of observation, with lots of doctors and specialists coming in, prodding and poking me. There wasn't much for me to do, so I took pictures of the food. I had a nice personal pan pizza that night, along with a yummy cheesecake that I doctored up with a brownie that Dr. Zoe had given me the night before. And the next morning I had a great big burrito. Soon I was discharged. I was on a plane to home to Madison, Provo to Phoenix to Madison. I was in the back of the plane, but had the whole 3 seats to myself. Oh, there'll be more about this trip, but the other 5 riders have the pictures and the stories to tell. So stay tuned, more to come.